Welcome to today's crash course. I'm your host, Garrett Greeno, and today's topic is the Boston Tea Party. So, when did the Boston Tea Party happen? December 16th, 1773, in Boston, Massachusetts, when American colonists were frustrated and angry at Britain for imposing taxes without representation. They dumped chests of tea imported by the British East India Company into the harbor. It was the first major event of defiance over British rule from the colonists, and it showed Britain that Americans wouldn't take this and that they rallied across all colonies to fight against it. So why did this happen? In the 1760s, Britain was deep in debt, so British Parliament imposed a series of taxes on American colonists to help pay the debts. The Stamp Act of 1765 taxed colonists on virtually every piece of printed paper they used, and then further, the Townshends Act of 1767 went a step further, taxing essentials such as paint, paper, glass, and that stuff. And then the British government felt that the taxes were fair since much of its debt was earned fighting wars on the colonists' behalf. The colonists disagreed. They were furious at being taxed without having any representation in Parliament and felt it was wrong for Britain to impose taxes on them to gain revenue. So what exactly happened there that night? That night, a large group of men disguised themselves in Native American garb, boarded the dock ships, and threw all the chests of tea into the water. One of the participants said that they were ordered by their commander to open all of them and dump them in, so they took tomahawks and just split them down and then threw them into the water. So the aftermath of the event would be many leaders frustrated and some happy, such as George Washington and Ben Franklin being upset with the situation. Just Ben Franklin offering to pay for it and George Washington just being disappointed in the whole thing. But then Sam Adams and John Hancock and them all thrilled, happy. But also there was no one hurt after. There was no looting or property damage or anything other than the tea. So, who organized the Boston Tea Party? It was led by Samuel Adams and organized by John Hancock, but many of the actual participants are still unknown, and only one was caught. Even after independence, many didn't want to reveal their identities, fearing that they would face criminal charges. And most of the participants in the Boston Tea Party were under the age of 40, and 16 of them were teenagers. So the Boston Tea Party really encouraged a lot of other events that people don't really know about. There was a second Boston Tea Party in March 1774, and there were about 16 Bostonians that boarded the ship and dumped only about 30 chests of tea into the harbor. On to the thought bubble. So here we have a picture of the colonists throwing the tea off the ship into the harbor. And this is because they were mad at the British for being taxed on things they shouldn't be being taxed on. And so they dumped 342 chests into the water, 90,000 pounds or 45 tons, and would cost about $1 million today. And here are the crates of tea, and also no one was caught except one person. So, and there was no real damage done or property damage or any of that other than the tea. So yeah. And that concludes today's crash course on the Boston Tea Party.